Should small amounts of marijuana be legal for adults? Voters in Lewiston and South Portland will soon decide. We're here today to hear from people on both sides of the issue. This is David Boyer, who supports the idea, and opposing the idea is Scott Gonyer.
We don't think that adults should be punished for using a safer substance than alcohol. The science says that it is less addictive than alcohol, less toxic on the user, doesn't lead to violent or aggressive behavior that alcohol can. And given these facts, we think it's illogical for law enforcement to go after adults who possess marijuana privately.
Scott, tell us why you think this is a bad idea for Maine.
Two major reasons we're concerned. One is the normalization of this. We can set an age limit for 21 and over, but it doesn't stop the normalization of drug use that comes along with this, where we've seen that with medical marijuana and how that normalization has impacted youth. But the other point is we're asking municipalities to do something they're really not set up to do. They're not set up to make drug policy. That's really the domain of state and federal government. That's where we think that issue should lie.
And expand, if you could, a little bit on the idea of how this could affect the youth in Maine.
Sure. I mean, like as I mentioned, currently with our medical marijuana laws, we've already seen the impact of normalization, particularly in South Portland and Lewiston, where we're seeing significant increases in use of marijuana amongst youth, particularly middle school youth.
Scott makes a great point. Kids have access to marijuana, but they shouldn't. And right now we have no control of marijuana, and we think it makes more sense to have marijuana to be sold by regulated businesses that check IDs, that we can fine or take away their license if they sell to minors. Right now we have drug dealers that sell marijuana. They sell to kids, and they also have other substances. It's not necessarily true that legalization is going to give increased access and could even be counter.
And one of the things that you bring up frequently when you talk about this issue is the impact that it could have on the law enforcement community in Maine and what they're focusing on.
Even though it is illegal state and federally, law enforcement locally has the power and discretion to not enforce state law. They use their discretion every day, whether to give somebody a warning or a ticket, whether to pull someone over who's going 5 miles over the speed limit or not. And usually they don't, because it's not worth their time and energy.
Right now, I think law enforcement are doing a fine job of setting their priorities. And when you look at the summonses for marijuana, which is decriminalized for up to 2.5 ounces, they pale in comparison to something like parking tickets. Lewiston and South Portland police departments, they have their priorities set. They know what to focus on. For example, the Lewiston police are really putting a lot of focus on fighting the gang violence and harder drug issues.
One of the points people make often is they're concerned about how legalizing marijuana would increase access. Talk to that point if you could.
Right now with alcohol and tobacco regulation, for example, with alcohol regulation, there's these regular compliance checks that are conducted, and virtually 100% of retailers pass those. They're not selling to minors. Yet we still have higher underage drinking rates than we do marijuana usage rates. That's because of social access. The youth doesn't need to go to a store when they can tap an older sibling, adult, or other social person that they know to get the drug.
Well, when marijuana is illegal, it's all social access, and we have two choices as a society, because marijuana is being sold in Lewiston and South Portland and Maine every day illegally, and we can have it sold by licensed, regulated, tax-paying business owners that check IDs and are part of the community, or we can have marijuana be sold by drug dealers that are with the drug cartels, that sell to kids, that have other really nasty substances. That's the gateway. It's not the substance itself. It's that the guy that sold you marijuana has other drugs.
Well, it's certainly an interesting issue. Thank you both for being here today. And we'll find out how the question is settled November 4th when voters go to the polls.